Welcome to the Art of Money podcast with Art McPherson.
And thanks for checking out the Art of Money podcast. My name is Mark Owens alongside Art McPherson and Luke McCarty. All the information for the McPherson Financial Group, you can find it at theartofmoneyradio.com. And Luke, you were talking about some of the great articles that you read, and you sent me one from NerdWallet, and it was about the investment strategy and some of the questions that you guys get the most. And I want to go through some of these. And now, if you're a client of the McPherson Financial Group, or you may have heard of these before, but it's never a bad idea to kind of get a refresher if you're starting your journey into retirement planning. And you hear the word fiduciary a lot. So are you a fiduciary? And more importantly, what is a fiduciary?
Yes, we are fiduciaries. So the fiduciary means we are acting in your best interest as the client. It sounds kind of silly that there's a fancy word for that, but the industry used to not go by the fiduciary standard, and some in our industry still don't, right? So there's the fiduciary standard, and then there's the suitability standard. The suitability means as long as it's suitable for you based on your age and your risk, we could recommend that investment. Well, that kind of puts you into a box where it may make sense, it may not. So, we don't go that route. We're the fiduciary standards. Everything we do is in your best interest.
So I give you guys a call. I set up that appointment. I become a client of the McPherson Financial Group. How do you get paid?
That is another great question. So we get paid based on the type of account that we're using for you. For instance, if we're managing assets in our investment strategies at a Fidelity or a Schwab, right, we have an asset under management fee that is a percentage of your account per year that's charged on the account, right? If we're using a different type of product like an insurance company, like an annuity, or, I mentioned a CD earlier, we're not using CDs, but we can. If there's any compensation paid to us from those, we tell you, right? So we're upfront and open about our fees. If we're getting paid from an insurance company, well, then we don't go around and charge you by way of a wrap fee or any additional fees. So very upfront in the open, you'll know exactly what we're getting paid on every type of investment, and you'll know the pros and cons of each investment and why we recommend them.
Okay, so I know that as a fiduciary, you have my best interest in mind. All right, now I know how you're getting paid when you work with my wealth management. So tell me about our relationship. So I become a client of the McPherson Financial Group. How often do we talk to each other?
Mark, you and I talk every week.
And the funny thing, it's usually via text on the weekend. One of us is in some kind of body of water showing off.
But as a client, so the process to become a client, right? We're going to meet a lot more at the beginning because we want you to feel comfortable. We want you to be educated in the types of investments we're recommending that we use for you. So in the beginning, right, we have that 3-appointment process. First appointment's getting to know you. Second appointment's a recommendation. Third appointment is, hey, are we a good fit for each other? And then after that, once the investments come into place or the assets get here under our management, then we have another meeting where it says, hey, here's what we did based on our last 3 appointments. Here's where all the money is now invested. And then another 6 months. I mean, it just depends on the client, right? We don't put you in a box and say every 6 months or every year. But we have clients that don't want to meet with us as often, and that's fine. We still give them information, still give phone calls. We have the clients that want to meet more often than others, and that's fine as well. So you'll hear from us as much as you want to, and we both kind of play that by ear to see kind of what works best for you.
Do you have clients that treat y'all like family, that just want to get out of the house and come hang out with y'all and, still talk about their plan, but just a cheap excuse to come hang out?
We do. We have those that come and want to talk about the
kids and the grandkids and politics and
kids,
what Biden's doing. And
yeah, we have those conversations. We have, some very sweet clients that bring in fresh baked, warm banana chocolate chip bread. I'm getting hungry right now. Cookies. So yeah, we love our clients and
we especially love our clients that love to cook for us.
We do. So yeah, we're like a family here, and we have client events quite often. Yep. We had a little bit more this year with less amount of people due to COVID. We've kind of slowed down on those again as kind of the Delta variants kicked up. But we do events where I think our next one scheduled, if it comes through, of course, is Top Gun. So we're going to rent out the movie theater for Top Gun.
Oh, that's cool.
However, we were going to do that last year, but they didn't release it last year because of COVID.
Delayed.
So we'll see if it gets released this year. But I mean, we do fun things like that. Where
so everyone's coming over to Art's house, and we're going to hang out over there and watch some movies.
No, the Top Gun's actually at the movie theater. So we rent out the whole theater. So we do fun things like that. So we do feel like a family here. It's a different type of localized kind of approach where you're our clients, but we're friends, and it's just a great environment.
Sorry, the after party is back at Art's house.
The after
Just
party.
don't tell them about it. We'll just show up.
Don't tell Art. It's invite only, but I'm going to invite everybody.
Everybody, if you're listening right now, everyone's invited to come hang out at Art's house after we watch Top Gun. We've been talking about the investment process and how it works with the McPherson Financial Group. And there was a word, and you mentioned it earlier in the show, and I want to bring it back up. You were talking about a custodian, and that's another word that we hear a lot when it comes to financial planning. Dumb it down if you have to for me. Give me the custodian 101. What does it mean, and who do you use?
Yeah, so a custodian is who holds the assets. Right. So who holds your cash, your stocks, your bonds, your mutual funds, your ETFs? We use more likely than not Fidelity. We use Schwab.
Okay.
The custodian is who holds your assets. It is who prints your statements. It is who gives you your tax reporting, right? Your 1099s. Mm-hmm. So none of that is done here at McPherson Financial Group. That is a safety net, a checkpoint for you to have. Because if anything were ever to happen to Luke or Art or McPherson Financial Group, your assets are at Fidelity. They're not here. So it gives you the peace of mind that it's a double check in the process where we're only allowed to be your advisor at that custodian as long as you allow us to be.
Okay.
So very important to know who your custodian is. When you think about it from the big corporate structure, right? I won't name any names of institutions, but if your money's at an institution and that institution's your custodian, something to think about.
Luke McCarty, thank you for that definition of custodian. It's a word we hear a lot. I appreciate the definition because every week the goal here on the Art of Money Radio is to educate and to inform. And the team, the McPherson Financial Group, they want to translate those complex financial process into easy to understand steps. All right, so we want to dip into, we call it the Artist Vault a lot, where we talk to celebrities and superstars of the stage and the screen. We had a chance to catch up with Stephen A. Smith from ESPN. He was at the Pump Brothers Foundation. They had a big charity event, and the Pump Brothers raised money and awareness for cancer research. And I had a chance to ask Stephen A. Smith how he handled becoming late in life rich.
I think I learned it in the Reagan administration, and it's been echoed ever since. Trust but verify. That's me when it comes to my money. That's number one. Number two, I just started making some money. So let's understand that I'm, as blessed as I have been to achieve what I have achieved, people keep forgetting that just started. For the first 25 years or so in this business, I scratched and I clawed my way to wherever level I got to. Nothing was given to me. And anybody that knows anything about business, particularly when you're an employee, my philosophy is simple. If there's 3 contract negotiations that take place, consider yourself 0-2 and hope that you win the third. When you are going up against a company as pristine, as elite as ESPN and Walt Disney, they're going to win more often than they lose come negotiation time. And then you learn along the way in terms of financial literacy. My accountant, Charles Holmes, my financial advisor, Stacy Robinson, along with a plethora of other people that I know in the world of business, including professional athletes like Isaiah and others, giving you advice and espousing their wisdom when they can. You're a W-2, so that means Uncle Sam is taking 50% of your money before you see it. And then you're paying fees, and a lot of times people are negotiating fees and you don't have that leverage at the time where, they're taking 10% of what you gross, but it's after you net it. So all of a sudden, you dip and you walk away and you end up with 25 to 30 cents on the dollar. And I'm in my 40s, approaching my 50s at the time before I fully comprehended what I had to endure because I just wasn't making that kind of money. Well, you've got these athletes here, and a lot of people lack the level of sympathy and empathy for them that they should have, because you got an 18, a 19, a 21-year-old, and you're throwing all of this money at them. And people are out there preaching, get the money while you can, get the money while you can. They shouldn't have to go to college. Let them come straight out of high school. Well, yeah, that's true. But the problem is you're also asking them to make choices to protect their money, protect their decisions. At a very young age, they don't even know themselves. How the hell they gonna know the other stuff that comes with it? And so all of those kind of things, as you educate yourself and you become a bit more intellectual, you realize that it could be something that could be a hindrance to your success. And so what do? You lean on the people around you. And sometimes they're not the most competent people in the world, but you don't know any better. And in most instances, you don't care, because trust is more important than competence at a particular moment in time when it comes to some of these young folks. All they know is familiar faces that have been around them all their lives that they feel they can trust. And it's hard for them to comprehend. That might not be somebody you can trust in this particular category. But even then, it's a problem because even if that person isn't handling your money, they're the ones advising you who to trust to handle your money. And so all of those things come associated with profound challenges. And all you can do is live within your means. And for me personally, that's what I do. It doesn't matter what I spend. I save twice as much.
Stephen A. Smith, ESPN Stephen A. Smith, joined us talking a little bit about trust with your money. Luke McCarty, what were your initial reactions when you heard that?
I had a lot of initial reactions. As he kept talking, I thought to myself, wow, he can just tell a story, flip it somewhere else, and keep going.
Yes.
I think if we didn't cut him off, he might have just kept talking for another 15, 20 minutes.
And this is from like a week ago, and he's still going.
He's still going. One thing he said at the beginning, and I really liked it, he said, trust but verify. So you can have trust in other people, but you need to verify that what they're doing is in your best interest. So we always want to educate our clients so they know the reasons why we're doing things. We tell them the good and the bad of an investment, even if there's an ugly side, and we make sure the clients know. And so you can trust us, but then you also can verify what we're telling you makes sense for you and your financial plan. Something else he mentioned, he has his own accountant and his own financial advisor. So he has help around him, right? Who's on your team? Who are your fiduciaries? And it sounds like Stephen A. Smith, I mean, he named two of them. I'm sure he has a whole team of others. Hopefully he has an attorney. Hopefully he has more than just those two individuals. But for him to mention them on the radio means he has a lot of trust in them and that he needs them to help him with his finances.
What did you think about when Stephen A. Smith said at the end that when it comes to saving money, he'll spend $100, but he'll save $200? Now, that's hard to do for a lot of people that are living paycheck to paycheck. But, I mean, do you agree with that philosophy?
If you can do that, of course I agree, but that's very hard to do. I mean, if you're making millions of dollars, it's probably a little easier to do because you just live within your means a little bit, and then you're able to save a lot. For most of us, right, we can't save twice as much as we spend because we need that money to spend, to live on. We need our mortgage. I have 2 kids, right? I got to put 2 kids through college at someday. Yep. Most of us, including myself, are not saving twice what they spend. And if you remember last week on the radio, Art mentioned, if you just save 10% for 20 or 30 years, right, you could have a good chance of getting to $1 million. So Stephen A. Smith is talking about saving 200%. So big differences there. But, kudos to him for being able to save and scrap and get to where he is later in life.
Yeah.
But, the more you can save from the 10 to 20, 30% range, just the better off you're going to be.
And, it's interesting to hear Stephen A. Smith not yelling at us. I feel like on First Take, he's always yelling his opinion about sports.
Yelling.
But he makes some really good points. And have you had people come into the McPherson Financial Group that have been burned by former advisors?
We have. We have some clients now that came in and, they had some other annuities, they had some other products, some other investments. And we just ask questions. Hey, why did you buy these? What are they used for? Most of the time they didn't know. Mm-hmm. They didn't know their purpose. And when we got down to the nitty gritty, we've had clients tell us, gosh, if I would have just known what you just told me, I would not have purchased this annuity.
Right. So
the get you clauses, right? There's a catch to, if you can't lose money in an investment, well, what's the catch? So we have those types of investments here as well. But we don't go out to the 10, 12, 15-year range where we've seen some walk in the door. That is way too long to tie up money. You never know if you're going to need it or not. So we're more on the liquid side of those types of investments, right? Mm-hmm. Can't lose money, but we're not going to tie it up for 10 years. It's 3 to 6, maybe 7 years with a portion of the portfolio. So, yeah, people have been burned. The hardest part about being burned is when you can't get out of being burnt.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So be very, very careful in the certain types of investments you use.
Well, and getting out of being burned and then trusting again. I think that's a hard part too.
Thanks for listening. Want more from Art McPherson of McPherson Financial Group? Find us online at artofmoneyradio.com.
We are an independent financial services firm helping individuals create retirement strategies using a variety of financial and insurance products to custom suit their needs and objectives. Securities offered through World Equity Group, Inc., member FINRA and SIPC, a registered investment advisor. Investment advisory services offered through ProStatus Group, LLC. McPherson Financial Group and ProStatus Group, LLC are separate entities and are not owned or controlled by World Equity Group, Inc. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Investment financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. Art McPherson is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your attorney, accountant, and or tax advisor for advice concerning your particular circumstances. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Arthur McPherson, Florida Insurance License number A174725.
Today's show has been a work of art.